I didn't do it. Man, Colleen, or whatever her name is, man, she's gonna have to write a whole album just apologizing for all the crazy stuff that's coming out now. Gotta love the internet. Konnichiwa, everyone. I'm back. It's me. Not that any of you really noticed that I was gone in the first place, because I didn't really talk about this publicly besides in the Discord server. Unless you base my inactivity off of my sporadic upload schedule, in which case, Jesus Christ, I really need to upload more. Like, I'm sitting on tons of video scripts and so many other ideas. Anyways, after I uploaded my latest video, the Billy and Mandy Iceberg video, check it out if you haven't already, I went to emo night, which was a lot of fun. You know, I got a little silly, a little crazy, a little quirky, and then I literally got on a boat the very next day for a cruise to Bermuda. Now, this isn't the first time that I left the United States. In fact, just a few years ago, I went to Italy, which was a pretty crazy roller coaster of a trip. Lots of ups and downs. However, this trip to Bermuda was my first time traveling to a different country via a boat. So why am I talking about this with you guys? Well, I sort of decided halfway through my trip that I wanted to create a one-off main channel video, just talking about my trip, the stories that came from it, and maybe educate you guys a little bit on Bermuda. Now, I understand that this isn't my normal style of content, so before everybody starts getting fired up like France, this is the next Adventure Time video, and it will be up in a few days after this video goes live. Take a guess in the comments below as to what episode you think we'll be talking about if it wasn't obvious enough. Oh, I also have a pretty cool Adult Swim fighting game concept video coming out at some point. I want to create a mini documentary on the whole TikTok Grimace milkshake fiasco as well. And of course, I'm sitting on like 5 different iceberg videos right now. So trust me, normal content is coming. But if you're someone that likes to learn about the personal life of a random idiot on the internet, buckle up, Buttercup, because this video will take you through my journey to, through, and from Bermuda. So after emo night, I got home at like 5 a.m., slept for like 3 hours, then my family and I packed our bags and went down to New Jersey, my birthplace, which I'm not proud of, by the way. But I can't really do anything about where the game spawns me. We went to my aunt and uncle's house, who also came on this trip with us, and so we all hopped in a cab and drove from their beautiful neighborhood through the confusing storm of Newark to this mystical place called Cape Liberty Cruise Port, which is located in another place called Bayonne. Look, locations don't really matter for this part of the video. It's all New Jersey, and it all smells the same. It doesn't matter if you're driving through Trenton, Newark, Atlantic City, Toms River, etc. It smells, all of it smells like Play-Doh, and everything looks like it's melting. That's basically the whole state of New Jersey. If hell had a waiting room, it's New Jersey. On my way to the port, I took some pretty decent footage of the New York City skyline. Now, I've never been to New York City before, surprisingly, and I genuinely thought that this was the closest I would ever get to being in the city. Or being near the city, I don't know. But spoiler alert, I was wrong. We'll talk about that in a few minutes though. The cab driver had on Dean Martin and started singing to it, which was also a vibe. We eventually made it to the port, went through the terminal, had our passports checked, had our luggage scanned, and made our way onto the boat, which was the Celebrity Summit, which was a pretty decent sized boat with a lot of places to explore. I mean, tons of jacuzzis, pools. They have a spa, a rooftop terrace for movies, a gym, a basketball court, a club, an all-you-can-eat buffet, which is open almost 24/7, a couple of fancy restaurants, a wine tasting place, tons of shops, a casino, and a theater. I'm pretty sure all of those features that I just listed are like standard on a typical cruise boat. But for this being my first cruise, I was pretty blown away by the amount of shenanigans I could get myself into. But once on the boat, we did our little safety instruction requirement, you know, put the life vest in your butt. I mean, then we went up to the buffet for lunch, and afterwards we went back to our rooms to unpack. So, you know, my sister and I shared a room with 2 beds. We had this tiny bathroom and a nice ass balcony. Every morning I would wake up, sit on that balcony, put my headphones on, listen to some music while watching the ocean and drinking some coffee. It was a peaceful experience. In fact, it was probably the calmest I've been in such a long time. That was until I found out that the people next door to me were having marriage problems or whatever. Every single morning and night, when I would be on this balcony or even just in my stateroom in bed, I would hear this couple go at it. They weren't screaming or anything, but they would just argue very loudly. One night in particular, they were arguing about some girl staying at their house or whatever, and I remember the girlfriend or wife saying, "I'm Puerto Rican and I'm ignorant, okay, Dave?" It's hilarious to me that I can remember that one line, but but I can't remember the full context of the argument. All I know is it was some girl staying at their house and the wife was upset with the husband, or I don't know. Oh, they also smoked a lot on their balcony, but their smoke would blow over onto my side, which was joyful, and I'm using joyful very loosely here. Once we were done unpacking, we went up to decks 10 and 11 where the outdoor pools, hot tubs, and outdoor bars were located to watch the boat sail away from the pits of hell. I mean, New Jersey. One cool monument that I was able to see that I have never seen in person before was the Statue of Liberty. She was pretty in person, although I was very disappointed that she wasn't naked. Now, remember when I said earlier about New York City and how I thought that this was the closest I imagined myself ever being to the city? Whoa, good Lord have mercy. Honestly, at this moment, the city looked like super fake to me. Don't take that in a negative way, let me explain. I mean, the skyscrapers, their height, I was just blown away by the sight. Looking at the city, it didn't feel real to me. It was impossible for my tiny brain to mentally comprehend how humans woke up one day and said, let's go up. In layman's terms, tall buildings make my head hurt. Anyways, I grabbed a pina colada, sat in a chair, and watched as we crossed underneath the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, out into open waters and out of jurisdiction. See you later, federal government. Try and take my hard-earned tax dollars now. So for the first few days of the trip, we were in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, baby. You know, nothing but water. Every morning, I would wake up around 7:30 a.m., sit on my balcony for an hour, observe the ocean, drink a coffee, and pray to the ocean god Neptune to number 1, not let this cruise turn into the Titanic, and 2, to please let the Giants have a great season. Afterwards, I would head up to the buffet for breakfast. Every single morning, I would grab a plate and I would fill it with a stack of bacon, a hash brown, a slice of ham, and for all of my British viewers, beans and bangers. Of course, I had some morning drinks as well because I'm on vacation. Now, I don't really drink often in general. You know, sometimes I'll go out with some friends and have a drink or two, or I'll have a drink during New Year's or something. But I figured, you know, I'm on vacation. I'll have some fun on this trip. I just didn't want to get plastered like I did in Italy because I was very irresponsible in Italy. So some mornings I would have a pina colada, sometimes a mimosa, sometimes I would just have the bar make me something random like piss and apples or butthole and brandy or whatever. And lunch was pretty simple. I would have a Budweiser and a burger. What can I say? I'm a simple man. At dinner was where the magic happened, baby. So with the cruise package we purchased, we had access to this fancy restaurant called Blue, and apparently a lot of people purposely upgrade their plan in order to eat at this restaurant, which I can understand why. I mean, I won't lie, the food was pretty bussin'. You know, the menu changed every single night, so I was always surprised. One night there was lamb chops, another night there was surf and turf. They had crab cakes and fried trout. I mean, the food was mint. However, one rule when it came to Blue was that we were not allowed to wear casual clothes. You know, no ripped pants, tank tops, flip-flops, bikinis, mankinis, nipple tassels, basically anything in my wardrobe. So I had to wear some black jeans with 0 holes, sneakers, and this dumb shirt I bought at Burlington for $5. I originally bought this shirt as a joke, but when I learned that I was required to wear a collared shirt at this restaurant, I packed it because I don't own any collared shirts. I don't own any, like, fancy clothes. But let me tell you guys, the amount of compliments I received on this shirt made my stomach hurt. In fact, just thinking about those compliments makes my tum-tum hurt right now. I guess because it's shiny and it's different from like a traditional polo or a button-down that like 90% of the other people in the restaurant were wearing. I guess it stands out a lot. I don't know. I hate this shirt. I hate it. Well, people seem to like it, so now I'm keeping it. You know, maybe if I wear the shirt every day, I'll get a girlfriend. Yeah, okay. Dessert at Blue was mint, too. I mean, one night I indulged in cheesecake, another night I had Bananas Foster's, and sometimes after dinner, I would go to the bar and mingle with random people. One night in particular, I asked the bartender to make me something random. I told him to surprise me. And he made me this like mystery drink. And when people saw it, they asked me what it was. And obviously I wasn't really helpful by telling them that it was a mystery drink, because I didn't know what was in it. Anyways, I was the mystery drink guy for the rest of the trip. One of the nights I went back to the bar, a random guy appeared out of the corner of my eye and just shouted at me, "Get the mystery drink!" And then he started laughing, which made me laugh. And I don't know, it was funny. I always know how to attract the weirdos. Let's talk about my free time. You know, what did Jonathan do on the boat when he wasn't eating or drinking? Well, I didn't swim in the pools or hot tubs much on this trip. In fact, I only went to the hot tubs a couple of times during the night when everyone was asleep because the pool deck was always crowded during the day. You know, everyone hogged the chairs, the pools were filled with like 20 people, and these were tiny pools. So imagine 20 people in a tiny pool like that. It was a nightmare. It felt like being at the DMV with a bunch of naked people and it was also full of water, and there were no chairs to sit. What a terrible analogy. There is an adult pool and hot tub section of the boat, but that entire area was more overpopulated than China. However, I didn't mind too much because I was looking forward more to swimming in the turquoise waters of Bermuda. So I woke up on Wednesday morning to the sight of land. That's right, baby, Bermuda. A couple of things I noticed when pulling into the Royal Naval Dockyard. The water was green, the houses were very vibrant, and the island was much bigger than I originally anticipated, but still not massive. Then I began pondering why the United States has never attempted to overtake Bermuda. I mean, it's not too far off the coast of North Carolina. Tell you what, if I ever become president, I'm taking over Bermuda and renaming it to East Hawaii. I'm joking, of course. Or am I? Anyways, on the first day of being on the island, we went to this very amazing beach called Horseshoe Bay, which lacked horses and shoes, but the bay was real. You know, there were coves everywhere. The water was bright blue and green, toasty and warm. The sand was pink. The locals were super friendly, and I got hella sunburn on my shoulders and neck, which sucked. There were tons of hills and rocks to climb on the beach. In fact, I climbed to the top of one of them. And one of the guys who was on the same cruise as me offered to take a photo of me, which was very generous. I guess he noticed how much I was struggling to take a selfie of myself and he felt bad. I don't know. Photo came out nice though. I learned a lot about the island as well. So Great Britain still owns Bermuda, but basically the island makes up its own laws. It's the most expensive place to live and everything is imported. Let me tell you something. I choked on my hot dog when I heard that gas was $10 a gallon. And here I thought that 360 was bad. Hashtag blessed to live in Northeast PA. United States currency is accepted in Bermuda, so if you're an American citizen looking to visit the island, you don't have to worry about exchanging your currency. The roofs of every building on the island are white, and that's to reflect UV light from the sun, which also helps purify the water. And they're also constructed from limestone and are basically built to survive intense hurricane winds. And I think somebody told me that the roofs are also like used to collect rainwater because Bermuda doesn't have any rivers or springs. Cars also drive on the left side of the road, which is very wrong in my opinion, but I digress. So the second day on the island, we took a water taxi to the capital of Bermuda, Hamilton. And it sucked. Like, it wasn't terrible in the sense that the people were crabs, the place was ugly or anything like that. Hamilton was beautiful, the people were really nice, but there were more restaurants than shops, and the whole point of going to Hamilton was to shop. Pull my hair. So we went back to the ferry terminal and waited, and waited, and waited, and waited for over an hour for the next boat to take us back. That was the worst part of Hamilton. Waiting for the f***ing water taxi in the hottest weather with people all on top of you. And the water taxi service apparently doesn't abide to its schedule, and it just shows up whenever it wants. The best part was when the water taxi finally showed up, and everyone began to shove each other out of the way to get onto the boat. Bunch of bastards. The third and final day was pretty simple. We walked around the naval yard, checked out some of the local stores, including this cool shopping mall located inside this clock building that was full of colorful shops. Bought some cool stuff in there like this hand-carved dragon statue and this Buddha statue for my little shrine I have. Fun fact about the clock building, one clock tells the time and the other clock tells the tides.
Boner bar.
Then we sailed away at 4 p.m. It was a short few days on the island, but we did so much. The trip back home from Bermuda was a lot shorter compared to the journey there, and that's because the cruise ship was purposely moving slowly towards Bermuda. The boat saves a ton of fuel by going slower, and also because it's a business. You know, Celebrity, Royal, any cruise line, really any business wants you to spend your money, especially at the shops and casinos. So on the final day back home, a lot of the shops had Bon Voyage sales to try and make as much money as possible. So my family and I basically spent the rest of our onboard credits buying a bunch of random garbage. So I walked around the lower deck of the boat where all the shops were, and I purchased a little cheap smartwatch that tracks my steps and heart rate, a traditional watch, some bracelets. I had a silver chain and bracelet made for me, which was really cool because I never actually owned any authentic silver jewelry before. So finally having some legitimate silver jewelry is cool. The place I also went to sold gold by the inch as well. I prefer silver though, I just think it looks better on me. I also made the responsible decision of purchasing 4 bottles of Bacardi rum and 9 Cuban cigars. Side note, I told you guys that I barely drink and I wasn't lying. I've been home for a week and those bottles have not been touched or opened or anything. I literally bought them just to get rid of my onboard credits. They probably won't be opened until Christmas. On the last dinner of the cruise, I had a steak and this drink called Nightfall Elixir, which I think had rum in it. Either way, I had a few of those and I ended up stumbling my way back to the room. That was the most intoxicated I was on the boat, and I'm very happy that it was the only night where I was wobbly, because I would hate to be like that every single night. Drink responsibly, by the way. It was 6 a.m. on the final day. The sun was missing and the summit pulled right back into Cape Liberty Port. We grabbed our luggage, exited our rooms, and found out that, surprisingly, everyone was using the elevators on the boat. So my family waited like 20 minutes for an elevator to open. Meanwhile, I became very impatient and decided to lug my heavy suitcase down 5 flights of stairs to avoid the wait time. Was it worth it? Yes. Waited for my family after an hour. We walked off the boat, entered the terminal, waited about an hour for the cab service to pick us up, and drove through the hellscape of Newark again. You know, gabagool, am I right? So we made it back to my aunt's house, and I headed back home to the beautiful armpits of Pennsylvania. Now, prior to getting back to my house, my family and I stopped at 7-Eleven to pick up some snacks. It was like 9 in the morning at this point, and I was feeling frisky for a Slurpee. So my mom and I went inside, and right as we walked into the store, a man was yelling at the cashiers about cheese being on his sandwich despite him not wanting cheese. The workers looked at his sandwich and told him that there wasn't any cheese on it. It was a sauce of some kind, but he was yelling up a storm at the poor 7-Eleven workers. Meanwhile, I'm grabbing a Slurpee and humming music to myself, trying to enjoy my day. Apparently the guy left the store, but then came back to yell at the workers some more. I guess the guy had an angry Sunday boner. The guy kept calling the workers dude, and one line in particular that made me smirk was when he said, "Learn what cheese is, dude," as if the workers had zero clue what cheese is. I don't know. That guy ended up getting a refund and walked out of the store like an angry little girl. Anyways, moral of the story is never go to a 7-Eleven on a Sunday morning in New Jersey. Anyways, I'm back home now and I'm ready to rock and roll, baby. It was a very pleasant trip and it felt great getting out of the house again and exploring the world, but I'm ready to get back to work and produce some awesome content for you guys. Like I mentioned previously, the Adventure Time video will be out within the next few days, and I got some other content on the horizon as well. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about Bermuda. I appreciate you guys checking out today's video. Hopefully you learned something about Bermuda, about me, or hopefully you just found this video to be entertaining and enjoyable. One more thing that I want to mention before I leave is my band, Water on Red. We just dropped a brand new album titled Disappointment last month, and it would mean the world to Saoirse and I if you guys checked it out on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, etc. I'll leave all the links in the bio below. If you guys enjoyed me talking about Bermuda, then do me a favor and leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new around here. Click the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload a brand new video. Follow me on all of my social links and join my Discord server. Links are in the bio below. Have a great day, everyone, and remember that I'm going to invade Bermuda.